So we're going to, first of all, insert the hook in the indicated stitch. So we're going to skip the first one and go in the second one. Okay, if you look here at the tops of the stitches, we'll skip that tier and go into these 2 strands and go under 2 strands. Okay, so insert hook in indicated spot, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So I've done that. Now for a bumply stitch, you don't want to pull way up because it's going to make things a little bit uneven. So you want to stay pretty tight and close to the fabric. Then you're going to yarn over, insert in the same stitch again, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Now this time you can stretch that away from your insertion spot as much as you want. It's going to stop at some point anyway, but this creates really nice bumply stitches if you kind of pull the hook away from the insertion spot. Then we're going to yarn over again. I use my index finger as a bit of a break so it doesn't fall off. Insert one more time in the same spot, yarn over, pull up a loop, and again I'm going to pull away from the fabric from the insertion point. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on the hook, and we need to take one strand of yarn and pull it all the way through. What's going to happen if you're not careful is as you're going through, it's going to catch on part of a strand of yarn, or usually on the second or third strand, and you're going to fight. You're going to have way too many loops pulled through, or you might even split the yarn. And this is why I can't use a Susan Bates hook for this, because no matter what I try, the sharp chin hook here grabs the yarn, and as it pulls through, it grabs an internal strand here and splits it. Okay, another trick to finishing this bumply stitch, your left hand is going to be a little bit busier. So I'm going to pinch right at the base of all those 6 loops. I'm going to pinch hard. So if you feed with your middle finger, you're going to pinch with your index and your thumb. If you are a wrapper, I'm not quite sure how to do it, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're going to need to pinch and maybe even wrap with your left hand. I'm not sure how that works. But if somebody can show me, that'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to pinch, because I do it with my middle finger and thumb. I'm going to pinch on the base of those 6 loops and really squeeze tight. Then I'm going to take my yarn over, and as I go to turn, I'm going to give 1/8 of a turn down and away from my thumb. So I'm going to take that loop, turn down about 1/8 of an inch, turn, and pull through, all 6 strands. Okay, easier said than done. Actually, it is pretty easy once you get used to it. I'm just going really slow to break it down for you. Okay, so back to the beginning. Sorry, have to redo this one. Insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, don't stretch it. Yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, and yank. Yarn over, insert in the same spot, pull up a loop, and extend it. Then I have 6 loops again. So pinching, take the yarn, turn 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch turn, and pull through. It didn't snag. It's a nice clean pull through, I guess. Then I'm going to do my top chain. So I just yarn over and pull through. So all that is one bumply stitch, including that last little chain at the top that caps off all of these 6 strands and seals them in the spot. Okay, so let's practice again. We're going to skip one, insert in the next one under both strands, yarn over and pull up a loop. Keep it close to the fabric. Yarn over, insert in the same insertion spot, pull up a loop and extend. Yarn over, insert in the same spot, yarn over, lift and extend. Pinch the base of those loops, yarn over, turn the chin of the hook down, tuck it in, pull through, rotate the hook back, yarn over, and chain one. And that seals it off. Okay, I'm going to skip one, insert hook, pull up a loop, stay close, yarn over, insert in the same spot, yarn over, pull up a loop and extend, yarn over, insert in the same spot, yarn over, pull up a loop and extend. Pinch the base of those strands, yarn over, tuck in the chin. Okay, mine is starting to snag. I can feel it resisting. So in that case, I do one at a time, or just two at a time. And pull through. At first, it'll seem tedious and maybe you'll struggle, but with practice, you'll overcome that and it won't happen as often. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3 pufflies. Oh, did I not count the right number? Okay, obviously I didn't count the right number. So maybe you want to chain 9 instead of chaining 10. All right, so skip this one and make one more puffly stitch. Pinch, tuck, and go. Okay, I'm going to just leave that last one unworked because I just wanted to have 4. Okay, so there's your puffly stitch. Now we're going to turn the work, but first I'm going to chain 1. Okay, there are several places that you can insert the hook to make a puffly stitch. When we do the corner to corner, you need to remember 2 different spots to work. So when we were going the other way, all of these strands were topped off by this chain. So that is the top chain insertion spot. So when you're going the other way, rotate your work so you can see the tier shapes. Okay, if all of these 6 strands are facing towards this little cap, that's going to be the top chain. Okay, you only work into that top chain when you're increasing. So if you're not at an increase edge, you don't work into it. So that leaves 2 other spots that you could potentially insert the hook. I'm just going to stretch things open a little bit. So there's a diagonal strand across here, which means you could insert the hook into here or into here. To make the blanket and the washcloths, you're going to want to stay to the right of the diagonal stitch. If you are a left-handed crocheter, this is all going to be flipped, and you're going to want to go into, well, this will be the left for you. But basically, if you think of it as a backslash, you want to go on top of the backslash, not underneath the backslash. Okay, so here's the insertion point. This is the top chain, so we don't work into it. Here's the next insertion point. Here's a top chain, and we don't work into it. There's the next diagonal strand, so we're going to go in there. Skip this top chain, and now we're at the end. So at the end, we don't have this nice diagonal strand. We have all these 6 strands kind of forming a bump, but if you turn it over, you can kind of see, sorry, go off camera there, you can see that this is the tier shape and it's coming out of these 2 strands. That is going to be the last insertion point at the end of a row. But I'm going to show you how to really make it easy. Okay, I'm going to show you how to find that last insertion point really easily. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, so we're not going into that top chain because we're not increasing. We're going to go under these two strands. But before we do that, I'm going to get a locking stitch marker and I'm going to put it over top of the strands on the hook. See how I just let it rest there? So it's catching two strands, but it is a locking stitch marker, so I will be able to take it off. Okay, then I'm just going to tighten things up a little bit. My first insertion spot is right there. So insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, stay close, yarn over first, then insert, yarn over and pull up, and then yank a little bit away. Again, yarn over first, insert, yarn over and pull up. I have 6 strands, including the one that's being yanked over by that stitch marker, and pull through and chain 1 to make the top chain. There's the puffly. Okay, I'm going to skip this top chain. I'm going to look for that diagonal strand and go into the one that's on top of the backslash. Now, there's 3 times that you insert the hook. The first one is the different one because you're not doing a yarn over first. You just plain hook, insert in, yarn over, pull up. For the last 2, you always yarn over before you insert, yarn over before you insert, and pull up, pinch the bottom, rotate the hook, chin out through, and top chain. Okay, now I'm looking for the next diagonal strand. Insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yank, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yank, pinch, turn the chin under, tuck it through, chain 1 for the top chain. Okay, here I am at the end. I'm going to look for these 2 strands and then finish the last puffly, or bumply, sorry. Okay, so we're just working back and forth in rows. Chain 1, and I'm just going to work back across. Insert. And you'll see with time that you'll have a more fluid motion. And you can mentally count. Swing once, up, yarn over, swing twice, up, yarn over, swing 3 times, up, pinch, rotate, tuck, up through, chain 1, and done. So it's going to be fairly comfortable with some practice. Okay, then I'm in the 3rd one here. Okay, so here I am at the end. Oh, my stitch marker fell out. Darn it. So it was grabbing. Okay, we're going to put this back in and pretend it didn't happen. Okay, if you wrap the stitch marker around the beginning, it's going to basically show you where the insertion point is going to be for the last one. So insert. Okay, I'm going to pull through and not worry about that split and then do that. If you pull through and split the yarn, what's going to happen with some yarns is they're going to splay open. Like here you can see these 3 loops, whereas over here, the twist of the yarn is intact. So if you split the yarn and pull through anyway and keep going, yes, on this side it doesn't look any different. But on this side, you're going to have these little splayed strands of untwisted yarn. And even though I'm yanking on it now and it's showing more exaggeratingly, over the course of a whole piece, you'll see those bumplies that are uneven and the finishing just looks a little poor. So it's better not to split and just to redo. Some of you, oh, I just split the yarn right there. Some of you might want to go with a smaller hook Because remember, with that yanking up, the hook size isn't the most important part because you're on purpose loosening things up. So with a smaller hook, you might have more luck. If you go down too small of a hook, it does change the overall size of the stitches though. So you just have to kind of play around and judge. Okay, so this is a teaching swatch. You can go as long as you want, feel comfortable. You can use other yarn, not the yarn that you're going to use for the blanket if you don't want to wear it out. So yeah, that's the end of the Bumply Stitch learning swatch. So give it a go and fire away with your questions.